Alright, folks, welcome to this week's Forex commentary and market review. Here is dollar index on monthly time frame, and usually my chart isn't always on monthly time frame unless we're at the start of the week, right? And the reason why I'm pointing out the monthly time frame is because I just want us to look at this monthly chart and just think about months and months and months of analysis calling dollar index bullish and going through different phases and consolidation and all of that, especially all of the things we talked about at the start of the year. When I said, when I see dollar index trade into this monthly bearish order block, and we can see how the market utilized the previous yearly low as a means for a total sweep into the range. And now look at dollar index. See how price traded prior and see how we're just in a consolidation and an expansion consolidation and all of that, those kind of stuff. And it's kind of really interesting how dollar index has panned out because last week, for example, we said what I said, say dollar index took out previous weekly high here, but because of the markets were obviously in consolidation, we want to confirm if they are likely to continue. Now, I also mentioned that we currently have a bullish swing here because the market's completely inverted this inefficiency here, so this range is bullish. And we say for a fact that DXY is in consolidation, they are likely to return into the range, and after that we can now look for buy setups in continuation of the supposed monthly buys, because I think we looked at the 3 months chart and we saw how the market took out sell side here, sell side here. We have a swing low here and market took out sell side here and here, which it's incredible by itself. And currently, you can see where DXY is currently trading at. And we went on into the daily chart and said ideally we want to see them go into this fair value gap, this buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, and appropriately trade into the midpoint at least, because of we have an overlapping range here which is inefficient, right? And we started the week off with a gap. That was the first thing that happened on Monday, and I was trying to understand what's going on. I understand dollar index is bullish, looks bullish on the weekly time frame. We've been calling for bullish for weeks now, even if the price action hasn't been good. It's like market stays in consolidation and suddenly expands rather quickly, right? And we were in consolidation, which was one of the things I talked about last week, that all of this price action here was consolidation, and it means that we could likely see the market straight into discount here, this daily fair value gap, and then we begin to look for a continuation here on DXY. But the market opened first with a gap, traded above previous weekly high, total sweep returning to the range, very close to sell side here, and the market closed bullish here. Well, I still thought we could see DXY return. Maybe they wanted to reaccumulate into this premium because of this huge inversion level here, this balance price range, or this inversion fair value gap, and the markets kept on trading higher and higher. And this was the last point I was like, okay, fine, even if we're going to go short, market has to stay below the opening gap. And mind you, on the daily time frame, I'm running a recap because this was basically how we went through the Discord last week, because we couldn't get in on any trade on dollar index because of mixed signals, like a friend would call it, right? As soon as the market gapped here, close into this gap, we're looking at this high for relatively equal highs and for buy side. But then what happens when market trades into buy side? That's absolutely what I could not determine, right? And this was my last analysis last week, was okay, we're likely to see them take out buy side liquidity here because they were respecting this new day opening gap here on the X1. And it's kind of like interesting how this market has panned out, because the market panned out as though we're in trending conditions, because I've not seen dollar index trade this way in a long time, absolutely long time. So there was no way, it was very difficult to adjust to price action, because even though we've had this level here, I think from last year I called out level here on buy side liquidity here on DXY, but markets failed and always failing to reach for this high here. And currently we're seeing that how the markets are very close, and we know the markets are very likely to engage into buy side liquidity here, and not just buy side, clearly the markets are going to return into premium, which is this monthly fair value gap. I think one of the things we talked about at the start of the year is the dollar index is bearish off of higher time frame market structure. That's still subject to change, anyways. But and I said ideal sell setup on DXY on the monthly time frame is to see the market go through the consolidation. I mean, that's one of the things we wanted to say at the early start of the year. See if they could respect this candle here, this monthly bullish shadow block, and rally into buy side here. But as soon as they took out sell side, this became a three drive, because initially here was a bullish monthly market structure shift, but not a change in the state in delivery. I think that was one of the things we noted at the start of the year. But now we're seeing the long index trade higher. I think there's a chance we can get it set up here, and I'm not saying it's going to happen this week. Okay, now it looks like dollar index may reach for this level this week, but I would just just see how market plays out, because currently this looks bullish, and if we can get a retracement into levels such as probably this old high here, and I think there's this level here, something I want to note. Okay, I want to note, because it's how I'm going to manage my expectations during the week. Okay, so we have this inefficiency here, this old volume imbalance, and I'm just going to see how Monday trades. If Monday stays below this level here, I can maybe begin to look at a run below Monday's low, a Taurus should below Monday's lows, a 4 time frame change in the state in delivery, and I could engage for longs on the XY and aim for buy side liquidity here. And I could just, maybe there's something else that forms the price action. It just really depends on how the market forms up. But off of last week's price action, we can see how willing the markets are, now ready to expand higher on the XY, and it's not something we've seen really in a long time. We haven't seen this type of price action in a long time. So say we have buy side objective here. I don't know if the interest is this week. I don't know if the interest is to return into the range, or I don't know if the interest is to consolidate on Monday and Tuesday sets up the rest of the week. So we're just gonna prepare and see how. Yeah, you might not feel it or see the slight change in tone and everything, but I had my friend just anyway, just slight disturbance. So anyways, would really need to see how the market open up this week. That's tomorrow. Sorry, midnight today. Just depends on when you're listening from. Okay, we would like to see Sunday markets open. I think that's generally understood as Sunday market open, and we'll see how the markets forms up, because we have huge ranges from last week, and we want to see how much of Friday's range the markets are willing to walk into, right? Because we are likely, if the index is still very one-sided, we are likely to make a continuation of a Friday's range. Okay, and it could be from Monday staying in consolidation, or Monday taking out buy side liquidity here. Okay, we have buy side here. So it could be Monday taking out buy side above previous day's high, Friday's high, into buy side here, and returning into the range, creating a fair value gap, and that will be our reference point, our key level, to see if the markets are willing to make a continuation off of that, based off of a 4 time frame change in the state in delivery. So a one-sided DXY currently clear buy side objective on the monthly time frame. Possibly because of everything that's going on the world right now, we could actually see them expand here. But I will just manage my expectations as I would on terrible price action, right? Like they took out buy side here, okay, buy side here, and they could really return into the range. I'd have that in consideration. That's why Monday's trading is to evaluate the weekly range. We'd like to see how the weekly range forms. We'd like to see if there's a propensity to make a continuation or consolidate, create, or engineer liquidity for the rest of the week. So I think we have a clear objective now, even on the monthly time frame. It's something we've not had in a while. I think the last time we had something was the trade drive here, which wasn't very obvious to a lot of folks, okay, because it seemed very bearish, but this is consolidation, and we kept on talking about this thing for months and months. That's how terrible price action has been. But I hope we're out of terrible conditions, because look at all of these candlesticks. We've not seen very green or bullish or healthy candlesticks in a while, right? So yeah, And Euro USD, basically there's absolutely nothing, just the same thing I kept on talking about for months. Talking about the fair value gap on the 3 months time frame. Talking about how the markets could pan out. So we're very close to sell side here, but we're going to use dollar index to measure or adjust for objectives. But I think we're very close to sell side. So in as much as we think dollar index is bullish, as soon as euro is trading to sell side, we need to wait to evaluate if they want to make a continuation or return into the range and stuff like that. So there isn't so much of price action to talk about euro, since I covered everything in DXY. And there's pound. Pound only completely rebalances inefficiency. I was thinking that because of there's the fair value gap on dollar index last week, this one, and while the markets were returning into the range, right? Just maybe if they wanted to continue going lower on DXY, we could actually see pound take out buy side here into this premium gap. But our first objective was this gap, the 50%, the closing basis, and potentially, trading up here. But DXY left open a breakaway gap, which is very significant, and it shows in price action because this looks like a heavy sell program. So now pound staking sell side objective again, previous weekly low, huge expansion. Okay, we could, if they could consolidate, well, that'll be fine, and we have a fair value gap. We can trade off this old low, and we have relatively equal lows here, sell side and potentially sell side here. Okay, this is the level I've been eyeballing for months now. All right, I've been looking at this level for months now, and if you've been following, you know that I've had my eyes here for pound. Even at the start of the year, we had our eyes here for pound. So that's it. And gold currently is in consolidation. I mean, we only had one trade last week, and it was a trade from the previous week because we're holding gold from the previous week. That was Friday, upper weekend. The market gapped open higher, which was good until I saw foreign currencies, and foreign currencies gap lower euro. And recently, gold has been somewhat trading alongside dollar index, but it's not verbatim, it's not candle for candle, but basically consolidation and bearish consolidation. I can call it bearish consolidation. So we're in consolidation currently in gold. So until a later time, I won't be focusing on gold. I think currencies is where the money's at right now, and I'll keep on focusing on currencies. Obviously, sell side liquidity here. This is the obvious draw on liquidity. I mean, sell side here, except if I'm wrong again. All right. So I think sell side. And last week, one of the things I talked about was like the only way I would engage on silver last week is if, or this coming week, is if last week someone found its way above this down plus candle, above this volume imbalance. And because last week we're stuck between levels. Okay, we have had this volume balance and we have this other block, so we're likely to be in consolidation. And the only way to validate that you're out of a consolidation is if the markets can break above either the level of resistance or support within that consolidating range. So I wanted us out of the consolidation before we begin to speculate on long-term buys on silver and gold. And currently we're still in that consolidating range, and dollar index is still sort of like the driver of these commodities. I don't know, but probably it's because of the war and stuff. So basically that the higher time frames are still intact, still bullish. We have this month just returning into the previous monthly range. So although this particular month was indecisive, which is something I want to note, but because of it's gold and it's not currencies, I would just take my eyes off of that. So there isn't so much, but I think currencies are still likely. Pound, for example, is likely to engage sell side here and potentially here, but I don't know when or how that is going to happen. I think if dollar index is still very one-sided, and dollar index creates an inefficiency somewhere around here, and we can take buys off of that level, I think we could actually see pound go really lower, as well as euro USD. Even though we have very near sell side objective here, I think this level here is kind of like clean. I think markets can still reach for sell side here and potentially sell side here. So while we have this objective as primary objective, this would be our secondary price objective for euro, but depending on how euro trades. Okay, if the wick opens by returning into the range, that creates opportunity for a run on liquidity here. But if the wick opens with a run on liquidity first, we have to wait to see if they return into the range and give us a setup for a continuation into more sell side objectives. So I hope you found this insightful. Until I talk to you again, be safe.